Every society on earth faces a growing gap between, on the one hand, need and demand for healthcare, and on the other, the resources that are available. Need is increasing for three reasons. The first is that the population is aging, and in general, older people have more health problems. So that's one cause of increased need about which we can do nothing directly, although many of these problems can be prevented. It's very important to remember that. The second cause of increased need is the development of new effective interventions. If someone develops a new treatment for a previously untreatable disease, a new need is created. A new need is created which people will expect to be delivered. And then the third factor, which is perhaps the one we can manage most easily, is what David Eddy called the relentless increase in the volume and intensity of clinical practice. As clinical practice becomes more complex with more tests, then people do more things. Defensive medicine is increasing. Demand is also increasing, but it may be that demand can be modified by helping people understand that healthcare, even the best quality healthcare, can do harm as well as good. So how are we going to close this gap between need and demand on the one hand and resources on the other? Obviously, we have to try to prevent disease. We have to use evidence to fund only things that are cost effective. And we have to try to make care of higher quality and more efficient, but that won't do it. We need to focus on value. Value is the most important concept for the next 20 years. There are three types of value. Personalized value for the individual, and then for the population, there's allocative value. How do we allocate resources between different groups in the population, between people with cancer or people with musculoskeletal disease or old people or children? How do we do this allocation of resources? And then once the resources have been allocated to a particular subgroup of the population, for example, people with atrial fibrillation or people with back pain or people with multiple health problems, are the resources being used optimally for that subgroup of the population? So we're going to cover in this module the meanings of the word value, and it's quite a complicated term, and then how you can get more value from the resources available. We're now in the value era of healthcare.